Uh, I would say like nerdy in the sense of like I love like Marvel and DC. So like whenever like a new Marvel or DC movie comes out, I'm like we gotta go to it. So I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't know about me. So
Do you like to go hunting, fishing, loving every day? What does that look like? You see what I did
oh
there?
dude, back in the day before music just like took over my life, which I'm blessed to be a part of. Yeah, dude, I used to go hunting a lot with my uncle up in Georgia, and now it's kind of like here and there. I love the outdoors in general. Like, we just got back from North Carolina, and dude, I'm originally from North Carolina, so it was just super cool to be back there. And I love the outdoors, hiking and tubing down the river and all that stuff.
Awesome, awesome. I don't know if you know this, Noah, but there's like an accessible zip line that was built out in Newberry. So I am itching to try that out. Right, I'm like a daredevil. Right, so I might have to try that out. Right, I might have to do podcast part two. Let's take Noah on an adventure and let's just go zip line. I'm not gonna skydive, but I will zip line.
Oh heck yeah, dude! No, I love zip lining. I've done it a couple times up in Gatlinburg, and then up in like Chattanooga, Tennessee, and dude, it's super fun. Like the adrenaline rush. I'm a daredevil myself. Like, so I love that.
Yep, awesome, awesome. All right, so when did it really hit you that music wasn't just a dream anymore, but it was something tangible? You could actually feel it, touch it. This was what you were gonna do, and you were gonna make a career out of it, but something you were gonna build a business into, right? When did Noah Hunton Music LLC come about?
So I would definitely say it kind of hit me to where it wasn't just like this is a hobby, like, and it was just like, yo, I can do this full force. I would definitely say back in, I would say 20, I would say 2020. I would say, I had a lot of big opportunities kind of just start presenting me around 2020, and from, uh, I think the biggest one that I saw you post about was the Grand Ole Opry. I mean, as an independent artist and to get nominated for several awards the first year and then the second year and to play there, I think that was just like, holy cow! Like this is no longer just like a dream. This is reality, and I think that was definitely like a huge milestone and moment that I was just like, wow. Like still to this day, I still can't fathom it. Like, like it's just insane. But I definitely think that was probably the biggest one. And then after that, it was just really from anything from opening up for Tim McGraw down in West Palm Beach to like actually being able to have support from my local hometown, supporting me to record my first album, and it like story after story after story, man. It's just nuts.
Oh my gosh, you've been around all my idols, right? It sounds like you've just been a small town boy living big city dreams, and so I love that, right? When you're on the grind and when you persist and when you have a dream, you gotta chase it, right? And so
Exactly.
that's how I feel with this podcast, right? I think it was like a God thing, right? That you and I came together because I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to bring the podcast back. But God says, not only are you going to bring the podcast back, but I'm going to bring you someone who is from humble beginnings, just like you, small town boy. Like I said, I'm from Trenton, Florida. So one stoplight town, you blink, you miss it. And so just to be able to, I don't know, just to be in the presence of someone who has been around many of my idols, right? That 90s country, something about that 90s country, right? Like, I think our boy Zach Top is bringing that feel back.
Yes, sir.
All right, so growing up in Ocala, Florida, and now chasing a career in Nashville, how did that shape who you are, both as an artist and a person as a whole?
Gotcha. I would definitely say growing up in Ocala and keeping to my hometown roots has been like I want it to be basically lifetime. Like where I started is like where I never want to forget, just because, like I said, from businesses to the mayor to like my friends and family and fans, especially that have just like seen me at like the smallest venues, like restaurants, to now they're, traveling hours to come see me play, whether it's in, a different state or or anywhere in Florida. It's definitely just, I still don't think it's hit me, like I still have that same mentality of, like, have I made it to where I want to be? Like, no, not necessarily. Like, I definitely see me growing even more and more and more. But like, where I started to, playing at the little small, Charlie Horse and all these places in Ocala, to now playing in front of thousands upon thousands of people, I try to take what I basically grew up with and bring it to all those locations. My biggest thing, like you said, is I try to stay humble and centered, to my roots as much as possible, especially whether it's a giant show. Like, I try to shake everyone's hand, meet every single person that I can, take pictures, until it gets to that point where I'm like selling out arenas where there's 100,000 people, and it's like my arm's gonna break from shaking so many.
But you're just that guy, right? You're gonna stay there until that last person that's crossed that line. I get it. So you talk a lot about, especially in your bio, I noticed you talked a lot about staying true to yourself, right? So being in the industry, has there ever been a moment in time where you felt pressured to either change who you are for the industry or anything of that nature? And how did you handle that?
That's a really good question, Drew. I wouldn't necessarily say that I've had anything like that happen to me yet. I think the closest thing would definitely be like, to better kind of suit that would be, what is it? Like, kind of like, social media plays a big part, I feel like, on a lot of stuff. So I think on that side, not necessarily like people, wanting to work with me and being like, hey man, like, you gotta be like this, you can't do this. Like, that's not really happened to me, just because of my infrastructure on who I am as an artist, and like how I, like you saw my social media, God, faith, and family. Like, there's my three big things. And but I think social media definitely kind of plays a big role where it comes to, hey man, you got to post videos that are going viral like this. Like, I try not to jump on the trends, just so I can stay more true to myself. Like, that's whether you come to a small show or a giant show. Like, the show is just as big at, having 10 people there or 10,000 people. Like, you're never gonna see me just be on stage just strumming my guitar and singing and like not giving it my 120%.
Absolutely. I can relate to that myself, because I am a motivational speaker, right? So I use my testimony and all the things that I went through, and I speak to classrooms of 5, and I spoke to classrooms of 100. It does not matter. If I've reached that one person, right, and made that connection, then I've done my job, right? And I'm sure that's the same for you, right? You want to use your music to touch a person, right?
Yes, sir.
So you build a solid team around you and support around you. So who's been in your corner from the beginning, and why has that support mattered to you so much?
Oh man, dude. Well, like you can kind of see behind me on some of my sponsors. It's, dude, is there necessarily one? I mean, I would definitely say, from the get-go, my mom was like Like she saw me when I was just like singing with my American Idol jukebox. All right, she's she was definitely like a huge major support and has backed me up ever since. And not saying my dad didn't, but my dad's from the military, so he was like,
structured. Like,
yeah, he was like,
gonna be this way. Yep. Got it.
So, but I would definitely say my mom. But from a bigger perspective out of my family, I mean, the first person that comes to mind that really started me was Ocala Heating and Air. I was playing at a local dive bar in Ocala, 100 proof, and they saw me one night performing, and they came up to me and they're like, "Hey man, like we love what you're doing. We love the sound, like your interaction, all that stuff. Like, how can we help benefit you more?" And I was just like, "Well, I got these songs that I really want to record. Like, if you guys could help me out." And they were like, "Yeah, man, we'd love to." So I would definitely say like Ocala Heating and Air was definitely like the first people to really like kind of jumpstart my career. And I don't want to, say no one else did. From, Connor Tractors was a major one. And about, I think it was like 2021. They helped support me for my first EP. I mean, the list goes on and on from my new sponsor, Moonshine, to Uncle Don's Light.
Yeah, they followed me today, so I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Heck yeah, man, that's awesome. I mean, the list goes on and on from like people in Georgia, people in Texas, like Michigan. It's just so mind blowing and so just like brings me so much joy in the sense of I have such a big support.
Awesome. You can never have a big enough village, right? Yep. And so let's talk about Bartender. This song earned you a Song of the Year nomination. So I want to know what inspired you to write that song, and why. What about it do you think resonated with listeners so much that they decided to give you a nomination for this piece?
Yes. So, in life, you go through breakups and so it was kind of like one of those. It was my first like sad song, and at the time when I recorded it, I think Bailey Zimmerman just broke through with "Rockin' a Hard Place," and I was like, "All right, kind of let me write a breakup song," and so I wrote the song just in the perspective of just the everyday life of whether it's a breakup or you go through a tragedy and you're just like trying to figure out why this happened to you. Everyone always says like, "Why, God? Like, why did this happen?" And so I just really spoke from the heart of it, just saying, like kind of giving it the wide spectrum of like, hey, it's just another Friday night hanging out at the bar, like trying to drown out my sorrows. And going into it, I was like, didn't really have the idea about it till afterwards. But the next song was A Little Less Jack and A Little More Jesus, that I wrote after that to kind of just show, like, yes, you have to have those moments to be vulnerable and figure out the path of what you are supposed to do, and then I basically wrote A Little Less Jack, A Little More Jesus, and that one just blew up just because it was like showing, hey, here's the lowest of the lows, going to the same bar, drinking out your sorrows, to then, finding the right path, and then God just taking you out of that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, a lot of artists, they have that one connection to something about those breakups, right? All right. Let's go to the next question. And everybody faces some sort of doubt at some point, right? Like, is this the career for me? Am I gonna be able to make this a full-time gig? All those things. So what about that when you question your dreams and when those thoughts happen? What keeps you grounded and keeps you moving forward, and what do you keep that forward momentum?
Yeah, so there's definitely, like you said, whether you don't want to be a singer, a famous podcaster like yourself, or own a business or whatever, you're always going to have those people, that are, saying, hey man, like, I don't think it's a good idea. Like, there's so many people doing it. Like, and the thing that I kind of leaned on, going back to like my motto, God, faith, and family, was Proverbs 3:5, where it says, trust in the Lord, not on your own understanding, and like he'll guide you. And so that was kind of like my big thing, because definitely, because we're starving musicians. That's the phrase. And you never know what the next day is going to bring. We never know. And so that was kind of, in the beginning, I was like, I had a full-time job. Then I was like, okay, let me go part-time, see what happens. And then basically when I went part-time, I was like, all right, let me just trust in the path. And then it kind of all started unfolding. Not saying, I didn't have hiccups along the way, which, if you don't have hiccups, actually, I was just talking about this. If you don't have hiccups, then you're not doing something right. Like if your life is just like this, all easy, like you're doing something kind of wrong in a sense. So that's what I have to say about that.
Somebody watching this, write that down, coin that phrase. If you don't have hiccups, what are you doing, right? Always, my slogan is, you've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That is what I like to say, because it is the uncomfortable where we grow the most.
Yep, no, 100%.
All right. And so when you're writing new music, right? I'm sure you do this quite often, right? Because you got to keep the juices flowing. Where do your best ideas usually come from? Whether that's real life emotions or just moments with your fans. And I also want to add on to that. Is there any certain rigor that you do, or what is your routine, right? So some people, when they write songs, is there a place that you've got to go to kind of get those juices flowing? What does that look like for you? What is your creative process?
I think my creative process it's always different, because like my thing is I live each day like it's my last. So it's always different for me. But I think the biggest one, just because of all the traveling, I would say, is like when I'm on the road and I'm just like driving down the interstate and I'm just like reminiscing on, memories of whether it was like, man, dude, that show that we had last week, man, that was such a killer show. Or like thinking about, seeing that one person in the crowd that I touched, or, real life meaningful moments. Like the song that really kind of skyrocketed me in the sense was a song that I never really thought would really be my number one song for, I think it was like my number one song for almost a whole year. And it was called Legacy. And it was like a true testimony of, my life story of kind of going back on saying, those people told me, I would never make it, and I just kept pursuing. And now they're at my show singing my songs, And
like, what? What is that? What is that moment like for you? I always want to know, what is it like for artists when you just hear a crowd of thousands of fans repeating not even repeating the words back to you. Sometimes the audience just kind of carries it for you. What is that kind of like when you're up there?
Oh, dude, you get like this overwhelming kind of just form of adrenaline, because it's like, a lot of artists wear the ear things, so like we can hear what the band's playing, so like we keep on tempo. But sometimes the crowd is singing so loud that it picks up in your mic in your ear, and you're like, yo, what? Like, so it's such a cool such a cool moment. It was actually in Gainesville. Funny enough, my first headline show at Vivid Music Hall. It was for the Hunting for a Good Time tour. Was we played there, and I was like, like, man, how many people are gonna show up for me, like type of thing. And sure enough, we showed out, and I think my first show I want to say we had about like 450 people, which was I was like, okay, this is dope. And so just hearing them singing back the songs and knowing the lyrics, and even people that I never knew, like I don't mean to sidetrack, but it was me, my fiance, and our two friends. We were down in Tampa at the beach, and we're just filming for a content scene, and this little girl, probably like, I don't know, man, probably like 6, 7 years old, is walking with her mom on the beach, and she sees us filming, and she comes up to my fiance and is like, hey, is that Noah Hunton? And I was like, dude, I was like, wait, what? And she was from Idaho, and like she came up running to me, and she's like, oh my gosh, I love your song Legacy. Like I sing it, I know Guitar with a Million Miles on it, and all these songs. And I'm like, yo, that is just so the amount of joy that it brings me as an artist to know, my music is not only getting to people my age, but people younger and older. That diversity is like what artists crave for. It's not just like I write music strictly for people my age. Like I try to make it family oriented to where, a kid and his parents, the parents could put it on and like they're all jamming to it, and that's kind of like the new realm I'm kind of going for with this new EP that we're putting out later this year, the gospel country album, and it's just such a fulfilling moment.
Yeah, it's something about impact, right? I mean, I have people all the time, man, and they're like, similar thing. Like, I'm not a artist or anything, but I'm very involved in the community, and they're like, is that Drew Dees? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm just a guy, right? But it's just about impact, right? You never know who's watching what we're doing, or like, I don't know, your song. My God, that I've been playing that little snippet on repeat. You need to release it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is my situation, and it really speaks to me. So I will definitely be waiting for that EP, and I'll be sure to get a couple copies of it. And well, not copies now. I guess it's digital now, right? We don't have CDs anymore. But yeah, definitely keep up what you're doing, because you are touching and changing lives one concert at a time. And to us, right, such as this podcast, to us and to you and to me, we're just doing what we love, but we're also touching lives along the way. And I think that's the beauty of it, right? We get to do what we love, but God also lets us use our talents for good, to serve a greater purpose and to have an impact on others. And so I think that is the most beautiful thing. You kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but what was it like for you to be nominated at the Grand Ole Opry? Kind of take me back to that moment and what that looked like for you.
Yeah, dude. So that was so cool. So, funny enough, like, I was coming home from a show in Georgia, and I'm just, my buddy was driving. I'm scrolling on my phone on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, what's this, independent artist award show about? So I go on there, and I'm just like, I sent it over to my manager, or my booking agent / manager at the time, and I was like, hey, like let's see what this thing's about, so the Grand Ole Opry, all this stuff. And so at the time, I think it was the first year. I think we only submitted, I think it was like 1 or 2 songs. We didn't even submit all my songs because we didn't know too much about it. And we submit the songs, put in all the info, and I kind of forgot about it a little bit, because I was like, I don't know what this is, like, is it a scam? Is it, what is it? Like, and so then like a couple of months go by, and we're following the Josie Music Awards, and sure enough, they put out the nominations. I'm like, yo, what? Like, I got nominated? Like, this is like, I just signed up for this. Like, how is this possible? And it was just like, dang, this is so cool. And then I think it was maybe like, I think that was like in June when we got the nomination. And then I think it was like maybe August time, because I know the Josies were in October. I think it was around August time, late August. They were like, all right, we're going to be mailing out the submissions, like the awards, basically, of like saying, who's getting to play at the event. And I'm like, I think the first year there was 60,000 submissions.
Oh my gosh.
And when I saw that, I was just like, in my head, I was like, I already got nominated. Like, what are the chances that I'm playing at this thing? And like, I was like, there's no way. I was like,
I'm good. You already made me happy. You nominated me. We're good to go.
Yeah, and so then they email us and they're like, hey, we're sending out the letters in the mail. Like, be on the lookout. Whatever. And so then I got the email before I got the letter in the mail. And it was like, hey, you got nominated to play at the Grand Ole Opry at Studio A for the Josie Music Awards. And I was like, wait, what? Like, dude, I literally did like a triple take. I'm like going back on my email. I'm like, no way, this is real. And then when I got the actual letter in the mail, it was just such a fulfilling moment, because like you said, like the Grand Ole Opry is like basically like the pinnacle of like the top notch where you can play as an artist. And it was just such a surreal moment, especially with only, at the time, I think I only had maybe 5 songs out, I think. And I was still pretty fresh in the music scene. So I was just like, holy cow. And like, still to this day, I think that will always be a memorable moment until I play there again. And then it's going to be like, now, when I get indoctrinated into it down the road, and it's just like it's just such a cool moment, man.
Awesome. I got to tour. I did the backstage tour with my grandparents, and that was so fun for me, right? That was my graduation gift.
Nice.
From high school. And I know what you mean. Standing in that circle where so many greats have stood. Randy Travis, George Strait, Alan Jackson, all of those people. I'm speaking it into existence now, right? 20 years from now, 30 years from now, we're going to say, oh wow, Noah Hunton stood in the circle, and he's one of the greats. So just keep on keeping on, right? Where God guides, He provides, right? And so it sounds like you've had lots of opportunities, and so I'm just so excited for you, and I'm so excited to just have been a small sliver in your journey, and now I get to kind of stay connected with you and see where you go, and hopefully my podcast will get bigger and better, and I can do this for a living. I love my job currently at UF, but something about telling stories, right? That's what gets the juices flowing, and I have really missed that, and I'm just so glad to be back telling the stories and making a positive impact in the world, because I believe that we were all put on the God-green earth for a reason, right? So you were put on God's green earth because you have a great voice, and He gave you some great lungs and all those things. So just keep on making a difference, keep on playing those songs, and we'll keep on listening and supporting.
Yes, sir. No, thank you so much, Drew. I appreciate that.
So, for anyone who might be listening right now or watching, because this is a podcast / YouTube channel, and maybe they feel stuck, or maybe they're told that your dream is unrealistic, right? You're not going to be a singer or whatever that might be, or a lawyer, doctor. What would you say to them to kind of help them from your own experience?
Yes, great question. So I would definitely say, going back on kind of everything we've been talking about, is don't, don't let those hard times and those harsh moments, like, even though in the moment, like, it's going to feel like, this weight on your shoulder, like, oh man, like, people are saying, this is just a crazy dream, and it's not realistic. But like I said, it's about really following and the guidance of God, like, lean on him, because I forgot the Bible verse on top of my head, but where it talks about, the Lord is not going to give you more than you can chew. Like, he's not going to, if your dream is this big, it's not going to happen overnight. That's the main thing I would definitely say is, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a long journey. And sometimes, some people it takes 10 years, some people it might take 5 months. But in that journey, you really, going back onto a lot of these questions, is getting a solid team of followers and believers behind you, and just knowing your worth. That's the biggest thing. And knowing, the talent that you have, whether it's a singer, you want to be a football player, a doctor, a lawyer, a firefighter, police officer. It's really just going all in 110% and believing in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, then it's never really going to happen in that sense. So I would just say, trust in the process, trust in the journey, and trust in God's plan, and sky's the limit.
Yeah, God's plan is greater than ours, right? I never would have thought in a million years that I would be in higher education at the University of Florida. I just thought, no, I'm going to be a journalist. I'm going to get that degree. I'm going to find a TV station and be on TV. And I had that moment of, oh man, like, this ship has sailed, that dream has sailed, right? But I really love the work that I get to do with my students, right? I always say that I don't have any kids of my own right now, but I have 8,000 of them, right? Because that is how many are registered with our office. And I always say, whether you walk in my doors, whether you roll in my doors, you are more than a number, right? You are my student, and we're going to get through this. Something for me that is very rewarding is when you see that baby freshman, right? Like what you were saying, hey, Drew, I was playing at dive bars, and now I'm playing in crowds of people, right? And then they graduated, and then they come back to you, and they're like, oh, I don't need anything. I just wanted to say thank you, right? Thank you. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. That's
yes, no, 100%.
So, final question to kind of wrap everything, tie everything in a bow tonight before we get to the part that everybody's probably been waiting for. They're probably wondering, is Noah going to play tonight? Well, you'll have to stay tuned just a little bit longer and we'll get to that. But when you look back 10, 20, 30 years from now, what do you hope your legacy will be, right? What do you hope people remember about Noah Hunton, not only as an artist, but just as a person?
I think definitely, it was kind of like from the first, I think it was the second question you asked, where, the humbleness, like, I want everyone to, from where I am today and where I started to be 30 years down the road. I don't want anyone to ever be like, whether they see me in public, I don't want them to be like, hey, like, she can't, like, I don't want them to be scared to come up to me. Like, that's my biggest thing, is like, who I am today is who I'm going to be 30, 20, 40 years from now, to where, the humbleness, the homegrown country boy, it's just super outgoing and personable on every level. And like I said, I think that's the biggest thing in general, is just who I am today is who I'm going to be my whole career. I'm not like, my biggest thing is you have to have money to survive, of course, but like I've never chased after the money. I've never really chased after the fame. That just kind of comes along with, being an artist.
Yep.
And so that's my biggest thing. I've had it happen to me where I'm at the airport and someone, is like, hey, are you Noah Hunton? Like, can I get a picture? I'm like, yeah. Like, to me, it's like, I want to make everyone feel fulfilled and joyful in any spectrum, whether it's, they hear a song, whether they meet me, whether, they get merchandise, whatever it is. Like, I want them to know, like, they can always, they shouldn't be afraid to like DM me, or message me or, like, eventually when I get up to that next level, it's going to be hard to DM everyone back. But,
I will tell you, Noah, like, I'll tell everybody the way this happened tonight, because everyone's like, do you know Noah personally? Like, how did this happen? I'm like, y'all, I just shot my shot, right?
that's the biggest thing. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but that is another thing, going back on the last question, is if you don't take your chance, like in your mind, you might think they might say no, but you're never going to know unless you ask.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so I just commented, and then I'm like, 5 minutes later, I'm like, he's DMing me. Okay, this is happening.
Yeah.
So very excited, very blessed. Thank you so much for choosing me and spending your time and evening with me. Before you start playing music for us, tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find this music.
Yes, sir, Drew. So first off, make sure you guys follow my boy Drew. He's an awesome guy. Make sure you guys go follow him on his Facebook page. But you guys can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at Noah Hunton and Noah Hunton Music, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all streaming platforms basically. And then we are working on getting a brand new website up, so that merchandise will be on that. So that will be NoahHuntonMusic.com. Right now it's NoahHuntonMusic.org. You guys can go check out my tour dates, all that good stuff on there. And yeah, and y'all ready for some country music?
I am, and I'll be the first one to get some Noah Hunton merchandise too, because I believe in supporting one another, right? We gotta support one another. We gotta build each other up, right? A lot of times in this world, we're tearing each other down, but so I'll be keeping an eye out for that new website, and I'll be getting me some merch, and maybe I'll use it for good, and give it to other people. Let them hear, hey, how about you take this shirt? Look up Noah. Look up his music, because I'm telling you, Noah, you're really touching lives, including mine. So,
thank you, man. Thank you. So, if you don't mind, Drew, I'll sing probably like two or three songs, if that's cool.
Yep, that's fine with me.
All righty. So this first one we kind of talked about here on the podcast. This one's called A Little Less Jack and a Little More Jesus. I'm living fast, running on the wild side, chasing after shadows, trying to find my stride. He's been my crutch. It's time to break this chains. Less Jack and a little more Jesus in these veins. Less Jack, more Jesus for my soul. Gonna trade these vices. Love makes me whole. I was lost in darkness. It's time to find the light. A little less Jack and a little more Jesus in my life. Pouring out troubles, Same old glass, it only brings me down. It's time to let it pass. I need a higher power, will guide the way. Let's jack in a little more Jesus every day. Let's jack on Jesus for my soul. Gonna trade these vices for love that makes me whole. 'Cause I was lost in the darkness. It's time to find the light. Let's jack in a little more Jesus in my life. There's no more drowning, no more sorrow, no more wasting time. I'm ready for redemption, and it starts right here tonight. With a little less Jack, little more Jesus for my soul. So yeah, make sure you guys go follow me on Spotify, Instagram, all that good stuff. That song is available right now on all streaming platforms. So kind of paying heritage to actually I'm gonna give you guys an unreleased song real fast. If I can remember the lyrics. I write so many songs, it's so hard to remember. This is a brand new song I wrote last year. That's we're gonna be putting out a little Valentine's Day EP, hopefully around February 14th weekend, and it's gonna have a couple of love songs on it. But I love all my songs, but I mean, I love all my songs. Trust me. But I think this one is a really heartfelt message, kind of to my fiance. This one's called "Wild for Her." She appeared out of nowhere. Love was the last thing on my mind. I was ready to surrender, leave love behind. But you showed me light at the end of the tunnel that was shining so bright. When we're together, everything feels so right. 'Cause I'm wild for her, all I live in me. I've hoping and praying in the Lord I'm saying she's a girl, whoa, girl of my dreams. And I'm wild for her, but she's wild for me. And I'm with world's a better place, full of laughter and love and full of grace. So baby, hold on tight. It's about to be one hell lifetime. 'Cause I'm wild for her. It's all I'll ever need. Well, I've been hoping and praying in the Lord I will sing. Yeah, she's a girl of my dreams. been wild for her, and she's wild for me. Hold on tight. It's about to be one hell of a lifetime. One more time. 'Cause I'm wild for her. She's all out every day. And I've been hoping and praying. In the Lord, I'm saying, oh, girl of my dream. Yes, I'm wild for her. She's wild for me. Heck yeah. Oh man. So I got one more song. I think the song that kind of spoke to me in this podcast, going over all the questions that we were talking about with Drew. Again, make sure you guys are following Drew on Facebook, on Instagram. Can't wait to. Hey, we gotta set up that zip line thing, bro. We gotta set that up. That'd be dope. But I think this song just has such a meaningful message behind it that I was just like, I gotta sing it. It's one of my top songs, and kind of tells my story, and just out there to the listeners watching and everyone watching. Going back on Drew's question, don't let those people tell you what you can and cannot do. Live your life like it's your last, and no matter how big or how small, your dream is, it's a dream of yours, and never let anyone tell you what you can and can't do. Leave your legacy on this earth. This one's called Legacy. That's a true story. Remember back in '09, all those kids told me I was wasting my time. And I should quit while I'm ahead, but I never did. I'm standing tall, gonna show them all what I'm about tonight. I'm leaving a legacy, no one's stopping me, can't one shut me down. I'm leaving a legacy, singing loud and proud, show the world what I'm all about. 'Cause I'm leaving a legacy, yeah, that's me. They all dead are here at my show. You're probably singing along to my songs on country radio. And what did they know? Thinking about this podcast Thursday night. I'm leaving a legacy, and no one's stopping me, can't no one shut me down. I'm leaving a legacy, singing it loud and proud, show the world what I'm all about. 'Cause I'm leaving a legacy, yeah, that's me. Come on! All the people tell you what you can do. It cannot do. 'Cause I'm gonna sing till my lungs give out. I need to hear y'all right here, right. One more time, I'm leaving a legacy. 'Cause I'm leaving a legacy. Ain't no stopping me. Can't one shut me down. I'm leaving a legacy, singing loud and proud. For all my Facebook friends right now watching. I'm leaving. Oh, I'm leaving my legacy. Can no one stop me? Thanks so much, man.
You're welcome, everybody. That was Noah Hunton. Alright, well, that concludes our very first episode of the new year, 2026. You've set the bar high, man. Don't know how people are going to follow that, but we will see. But with that, you've just listened and or watched another episode of the Drew's News podcast. And if you or someone you know has a topic they want to cover, or is just doing good in the world, right? Noah is sharing his music for the Lord and doing good in the world, so here we are. You can email me at drewsnewsandpodcast@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to have you. But other than that, that is all we have. But as always, remember, if you can dream it, you can drew it. Have a good night, everybody, and take care.
Thank you, guys.